Now, beyond the quartet and chamber music participation with the Polish quartet and the Pro-Arctic quartet in approximately 40 years, you have also been a soloist.
Well, I started as a soloist, but then I concentrated on the quartet and gave up everything else in performing.
And at some time, I believe in 1956, you played the Schoenberg Violin Concerto at Darmstadt, and you told me that this was a long postponed performance.
That is right, yeah.
Could you tell me about this again for our audience?
Well, I felt that, I paid the debt which I owed to Schoenberg because he wanted me to be the first to perform this piece. And he gave me the score, manuscript score, immediately after he had finished it.
This would be about 1936,
That was in 1936, yes. It was composed in this year. And I took it with me on my travel with the quartet. And on a boat trip, either from here to Europe or the other way, I met Louis Karsner, the violinist.
He had played the Berg Violin Concerto,
He
of
had
course.
played the first performance of Berg, and which he had commissioned. And he somehow knew that I had the score. And he succeeded. You guess what happened?
Yes.
During this trip, to get the score from me.
And so
he then made the first performance, yeah. Schoenberg has never quite forgiven me for that, which I can understand. On the other hand, I just was so tied up with the quartet that I could hardly have studied. I studied the piece during our concert activities.
And you played it with what orchestra in Darmstadt? I know that you went there for the summer festival at Darmstadt.
Oh, you should certainly know about this performance, as you helped me so very much with the preparation. I played it there with the Frankfurt Radio Orchestra. That was during one of the contemporary festivals.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the Bartók Sonata. I understand that you play this work with the microtones that the composer originally wrote.
Well, I played it as he composed it. You see, I was the first to see the manuscript, although a very well-known virtuoso had commissioned it. But Bartók asked me to see him and showed me this manuscript and put this question to me, which puzzled me very much. Namely, he asked me, please look at this manuscript and tell me whether everything is playable. Now, from a man who had written the 2 violin sonatas, the 6 quartets and the violin concerto, that is a very strange question. But I understood later why he asked me that. Well, I found everything playable, although something quite difficult, which it may be. Well, later on, he told me that the virtuoso who had commissioned the work found many things unplayable. So you see here a different position towards playability. Namely, I consider everything playable which is physically feasible on the instrument. But some instrumentalists consider only that playable where the ratio between effort and effect is profitable. So, but to the honor of this virtuoso, who is not a typical virtuoso but a very serious musician, also he retracted his position and soon declared everything playable in the piece.
But the way that you have performed it is somewhat different than his.
Yeah, then something very strange happened. The piece was not published at the time, you know, of the first performances, not for several years. When finally it had been published, I saw to my great amazement that in the last movement all the micro intervals were absent, eliminated. And they are very characteristic for this piece and not merely coloristic effect, but they are of thematic substance. And what amazed me even more, there was not a single reference to the original text. So it was not evident by the published text that this was a change, an alteration, a simplification. Yeah, when I much later asked the editor, who was this same virtuoso, whether the composer had given him the license to publish the piece this way, he openly denied that he did not have the permission of Bartók.
So he had revised the piece for his own performance and then had edited a publication in accordance with his performance.
With his performance, yeah. As has been done so often,
yes.
As has been done with every text which has been found unplayable, that is practically every important piece of music.
But your performances at the America houses included the micro intervals in the last movement then?
Well, I knew no other text, and I would not
alter.
Didn't know
the published.
And I would not alter a text of a composer. Besides, I find it entirely playable. It needs some effort. Yeah, but I found also texts by Schubert, for instance, altered in current edition, again without any reference to the original text. So that is nothing new at all.
It seems to be a performer's prerogative, or at least he thinks
it seems an usurpation of a right, which the performer takes. But I don't think it is a prerogative at all.